Welcome back to the class. I am your science teacher. My name is Mrs. Jyoti. So keep your term ready, your pencil ready. Open page number 335. Okay, so we are at lesson number 5, that is human skeleton and muscular system. So we have learned a little part of the human skeleton and you have seen the model of muscular system also. So these are the two main things which we are going to learn in this lesson. Total we have 8 organ systems. We have 8 organ systems. Out of that the major 2 are the skeleton system and the muscular system. So about skeleton and muscular system we are going to learn. And we have studied about the skeleton. Okay, so this is the skull which protects the brain, and this is the ribcage which protects the lungs and heart, and here inside you can see the vertebral column which protects the spinal cord, and you can see here it is made up of completely bones, and the bones are harder from outside, but the inside part it is very soft and spongy and filled with fluid. And that fluid is called as bone marrow, and inside that bone marrow you can see the red blood cells. Okay, so all the bones are joined to each other, and if you see these bones, each and every bone is different in shape and size. Okay, all the bones shapes are different, their sizes are different. Then moving to parts of skeleton. Parts of skeleton. What are the different parts of the skeleton? Let us see. Page number 335. So here you can see the picture of a skull. Skull is nothing but the head part. Okay. So human skeleton is made up of the following parts. Skull. The first one is skull. It is the bony structure that forms the head of the skeleton. It acts as a protective case for the brain and supports the structure of the face. It is made up of 22 bones. Okay, so the first part is the skull. So what does the skull do? The skull is going to protect the brain. It's going to protect brain. And next thing is, this is the head of the skeleton. How we have the head of the body? Now the skull is the head of the complete skeleton, and it is going to give a proper shape to our face. It gives shape to face. And if you see in this, you have completely 22 bones. It is made up of 22 bones. So the skull, it protects the brain and it gives a proper shape to the face, and it is made up of 22 bones, out of which 8 bones protect the brain and remaining 14 make up the face. Out of the 22 bones, only the lower jaw bone is movable. So here, out of the 22 bones, 8 bones they protect the brain, that is they are present on the skull. 8 bones they protect the brain, and remaining 12 bones they make up the face. They will make up the face. So here on the skull part you can see 8 bones, and remaining on the face you can see 12 bones, and all the bones are, they do not move, they cannot move. Only the lower jaw. This is the lower jaw and this is the upper jaw. Only the lower jaw is movable. That is, only this jaw we can move up and down. Yes, only this jaw we can move up and down, and remaining all the body parts we cannot move. So here you can see the lower jaw is moving. Yes. So we can move only the lower jaw while speaking, while eating. We can move only the lower jaw, and remaining all the bones we cannot move. They are immovable. They are immovable. So Lower jaw is movable. So this is about the skull. Once again I am telling you, the skull is the one which protects the brain. It gives shape to the face. And total 22 bones are there. Out of that 8 they protect the brain and remaining 12 they make up the face. And the last one is only the lower jaw is movable. Only the lower jaw is movable. So that is about the skull. Okay, the skull, it is the head of the skeleton. It is the head of the skeleton. Then backbone. A long flexible column of bones extending from neck to the end of the back is called the backbone or spine. So it is also called as spine. It has 33 vertebrae which forms a vertebral column to protect the spinal cord. So backbone forms the main axis of the skeleton. So total here we have 33 vertebrae. Total we have 33 vertebrae which follow the vertebral column. And it is going to protect the spinal cord. It's going to protect the spinal cord. So what is this? Let me show you. So here this long one which is starting from the neck. Okay, here is the neck. So from here it is going to start and it is a long tube-like structure which is going to end at the back near the hip. Okay, so from neck it is going to start until hip it is going to prolong. Now here if you see it is made up of small bones. Okay, you can see the partitions, you can see the separate partitions, and this each bone is called as vertebrae. It is called as vertebrae. Now how many vertebrae are there? Total 33 vertebrae are there. How many vertebrae? 33 vertebrae. Now all these together they form a line-like structure which is called as vertebral column. It's called as vertebral column. Now inside this skull we have the brain. So from that brain we have the nerves which is called as spinal cord. So this vertebral column is going to protect the spinal cord. It's going to protect the spinal cord. So these are the functions of backbone. So backbone is also called as spine, which is flexible. That is, we can bend and we can even bend backward also. We can bend forward and backward. Yes, and it has total 33 vertebrae, and altogether they form the vertebral column, and it protects the spinal cord. It protects the spinal cord. Then comes the rib cage. So in the name itself it is there that it looks like a cage. We put birds in cage, we put animals in cage, isn't it? So it's like same like a cage. That is, inside that we are protecting something. So here rib cage. 12 pairs of bow-shaped bones are called the ribs. So here you can see these are the ribs. Okay, these are the ribs. So if you count, you will have total 12 pairs. Pairs in the sense 2. So this side one and this side one together they form a pair. So like that 12 this side and 12 that side, total you have 24 ribs, and they are in the shape of a bow. Bow means like a rainbow. Okay, you know about the rainbow. It is in semicircle shape. In this way. Even here also like this they are going to be. So here you can see it is in the shape of C. It is in the shape of C. So here total we have 12 pairs of ribs. We have 12 pairs of ribs. forms like a cage. It's like bird's cage, isn't it? So that's why we call it as rib cage. We call it as rib cage. And where is that rib cage present? Near the chest cavity. So here we have the rib cage. So if you press and see, you can see hard, you can feel it, okay, hard bony structure. So those are nothing but the ribs. So the rib cage forms an important role of the body's respiratory system and helps in expansion of the chest cavity so that the lungs can expand and breathe. It also protects organs such as heart and lungs. So the rib cage is going to protect the heart and lungs. They are going to protect heart and lungs. And it also helps the lungs to expand. That is, the lungs are going to become big and small again. So why do they become big and small? So whenever we breathe the air inside, they expand. And whenever we breathe the air out, they are going to come closer. They become small. So the ribs, they help in the expansion of the lungs. And they are going to protect the heart and lungs. It also protects organs such as heart and lungs. So the rib cage has a long bone in the front called as sternum. So here you can see there is a long bone in the front and it is called as sternum. So in the middle you can see a long bone which is called as sternum. Okay, what is it called? It is called as sternum. The long bone which is there in the front is called as sternum. Or it is also called as the breastbone. It's also called as breastbone. The ribs are attached to the sternum and at the front and the backbone at the back. So the last two pairs of the ribs are attached only to the backbone. Therefore, they are also called as the floating ribs. So here we have total 12 pairs of ribs. Okay, we have total 12 pairs of ribs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then what about the other two? Other two are here backside. Okay, they are little small. And if you see the ribs here, so towards the front they are attached to this sternum and backside they are attached to the backbone. Backside they are attached to the backbone. And if you see here, only 10 pairs are attached to sternum and backbone. Remaining 2 pairs are attached only to the backbone. Remaining 2 pairs are attached to only backbone. That's why the 2 pairs are called as floating bones. They are called as floating bones. Okay, so this is about the rib cage. So once again I am telling you, so rib cage is going to protect the heart and lungs. And it's going to help in the expansion of lungs. If you see here, total there are 12 pairs of ribs in bow shape. Okay, rainbow. How a rainbow will be exactly the same way. And this middle bone, long bone is called as the sternum or the breastbone. And if you see all the 12 pairs here, 10 pairs are attached to the front side to the sternum and back side to the backbone. Okay, that is to the backbone. And remaining 2 here. Okay, this 2 you can see. So this side 2 and this side 2, they are attached only to the backbone, but they are not attached to the sternum. So they are called as floating bones. They are left like that and they are called as floating bones. So this is about the rib cage. Then comes the limbs. Moving on to limbs. Human body has 2 pairs of limbs. So we have total 2 pairs of limbs. That is total 4 limbs we have. 4 limbs and the hind limbs. We have the hind limbs. Okay, we have total 4 limbs. That is, 2 will come under forelimbs and 2 will come under hind limbs. So the forelimbs are the hands and the hind limbs are the legs. Okay. So this part you can see here. So these are the forelimbs. So how many forelimbs you have? 2 forelimbs you have. And these are the 1 hind limbs. Okay. These are the hind limbs. So how many hind limbs you have? 2 hind limbs you have. So all the animals also they have total 4 forelimbs. So 4 limbs are present and hind limbs are present. The 4 limbs are divided into upper arm, forearm and the hand. The upper arm has a single long bone called as humerus. The lower arm is made up of 2 bones and there are 27 bones in our hand and wrist. So here the forelimb is made up of total 22 bones. And here if you see, this is the long bone or the upper arm. This is the upper arm. That is this one from here, shoulder till here. This is the upper arm and we call it as humerus. It's called as humerus. And here you can see here, this is the bone, that is the forearm. This is the forearm and made up of 2 bones. You can see very clearly there are 2 bones here. Okay. So this is the only single bone and that is called as humerus, and this is the forearm which is made up of 2 bones. And here these are the fingers which you can see. Okay. These are the fingers which you can see, and total there are 27 bones. Total there are 27 bones if you count for the 4 limbs. Then the head limbs or legs contain the upper leg, knee, lower leg, ankle and foot. For the head limbs we have the upper leg, lower leg, ankle and knee. So the femur is the thigh bone present in the upper leg. So this is the hind limb, and this is the longest bone in the body, and this is called as the femur bone. It is called as femur bone, and that is also called as the thigh bone. Okay, that is also called as thigh bone, and it is the longest bone in the body, and that is called as the femur bone. So, which is the largest bone in the body? The base of the femur bones make up the knee. The lower leg has 2 bones, the ankle and the foot. It contains overall 26 bones. So, here if you see, so here you can see again 2 bones here, that is the lower leg, and here you can see the 2 parts. Okay, so total overall we have, like how we have for hand, exactly the same way we have for leg also, and we have 26 bones overall. Okay, we have 26 bones. So this is about the limbs. Limbs are nothing but the hands and legs. So the hands we call it as forelimbs and legs we call it as hind limbs. And this hand, so this is called as humerus. This is called as humerus or the upper arm. And the lower arm you have 2 bones, and these are the fingers. Overall you have 27 bones here, and these are the 4 limbs. So this is the thigh bone which is called as femur and the longest bone, and this is the lower leg which has 2 bones, and these are the fingers of your leg. Okay, so total how many bones you have? You have 26 bones. So this is about the limbs. Then comes the girdles. So this is the last one. Girdles. This is a pair of of the hip. The humerus bone of the upper limb is attached to the pectoral girdle. So here if you see the back, so this is the humerus bone. So back side you can see. Okay, so this is the back side of the skeleton. So this is the pectoral girdle. This is called as the pectoral girdle. So humerus is attached to the pectoral girdle, and here you have the pelvic girdle. You have the pelvic girdle. So here this femur bone is attached to the pelvic. This is pectoral and this is pelvic. So humor is attached to the pectoral and the femur bone is attached to the pelvic. So the humerus bone of the upper limb is attached to the pectoral girdle and the femur bone of the lower limb is attached to the pelvic girdle. So bones are held together by a strong tissue called as ligament. So all the bones which are there in the skeleton system, they are attached to each other. All the bones are attached to each other by a tissue called ligament. Whenever you want to attach any two papers, you are going to use a glue or fevicol or gum, isn't it? And in the same way, all the bones, they are attached to each other by a tissue called as ligament. It's called as ligament. So this is for today, and you have learned about the different things. Your homework is complete the checkpoints which is there in page number 337. So from page number 337 you have the checkpoints, you have to complete it, and these answers I am going to tell you in the next session. So this is about the skeleton. So if you can draw the diagram of the skeleton.